Thank you, Sam. I'm an alcoholic. My name's Eldin. What's up, everyone? What's up? Glad to be here on a Friday night um, at my home group. I'll talk about what that means. Yeah, Sam, geez, I totally bailed and forgot about speaking tonight. I thought I was like at a different meeting, like a meeting like local to you, but I'm grateful to have another opportunity to speak at my home group. My sobriety date um, is September 13th of 2015. That's not the first day I walked into AA, but that's my sobriety date. And my home group is the Fifth Dimension Young People's Group, which is the meeting you're on right now. Welcome to anyone who's new to Alcoholics Anonymous. This group, yeah, if like you're checking this thing out, don't know if this is the right place for you, like welcome. If you have a desire to stop drinking, we welcome you here. That's the only requirement, right? Everything else is like fair game. To some extent. Yeah. So let me read something from the book. So I was like thinking, what am I gonna do? Because like I've given my whole story here before. It's on the YouTube channel. But I was thinking of like some piece of literature that from the big book. This is our big book. If like this is our textbook, it's kind of like a study guide to like recovery, and it works best if you do it with someone with experience, right? So like reading this alone may not produce the results, at least in my experience. And so chapter 11, it's called A Vision for You. It's a beautiful chapter. It's written uh, masterly. Um, and I'll just read a couple points that like stick out to me. So it says, for most folks, for most normal folks, drinking means conviviality, companionship, and colorful imagination. It means release from care, boredom, and worry. It is joyous intimacy with friends and a feeling that life is good. But not so with those, but not so with us in those last days of heavy drinking. The old pleasures were gone. They were but memories. Never could we recapture the great moments of the past. There was an insistent yearning to enjoy life as we once did, and a heartbreaking obsession that some new miracle of control would enable us to do it. There was always one more attempt and one more failure. I could identify instantly with that, right? Like the part about like trying to like control the drinking and using, like that was like the great obsession, right? It talks about earlier on in the book. And yeah, so this I'll read on page 152. It says, "We have shown you how we got from under. You say, yes, I'm willing, but am I to be co-signed to a life where I shall be stupid, boring, and glum, like some righteous people I see? I know I must get along with liquor, but how can I? Without liquor, but how can I? Have you a sufficient substitute? Yes, there is a substitute, and it is vastly more than that. It is a fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. There you will find release from care, boredom, and worry. Your imagination will be fired. Life will mean something at last. The most satisfactory years of your existence lie ahead. Thus, we find the fellowship, and so will you." And that's probably all the literature I'm going to read from the big book. So yeah, like I said, my sobriety date September 13th, 2015. I got sober down in Boston. I'm originally from Boston. I grew up in the city of Boston with like an alcoholic father who beat on my mom, low income housing, the works, right? And like ever since hey, I got a video over there from my friend. Uh, it's good to see some friends in the chat. Damn, that's so cool. Ever since a young age, like I just remember feeling different and like not being able to like live life with like comfortably. And I don't know if that's like because of like alcoholism or because of like like anything like wrong with my family genes or whatever the case may be. I just grew up feeling like separated and different than my peers. I remember like in school, it was like traumatic experiences. Like I went to like um like six or seven different high schools because I kept dropping out and was like, oh, this school's not good enough for me. Although those people are getting too close to me. Oh, this, that, or the other thing. And like, I just was never comfortable within my own skin. And I don't know if that was like because I was like attracted to like men and like confused about my sexuality, or if it was because like whatever the case may be, I don't have an idea of as to why. I just know that I suffer from like this feeling of like feeling different. And you put, an ounce of alcohol in my system and like, something magically happens. I call drinking like the first time that I like my first real drunk, like a spiritual experience, right? Because something happened when I put that in my body where like suddenly I was able to breathe. I was calm. I was able to have friends. I was able to like go to work. I was able to like do the normal shit that we do around here, right? And alcohol was allowed me the opportunity to do those things. And what tends to happen with people like me who suffer from alcoholism, this threefold disease, is that like once I put one in, like I can't stop, and like I can't stop thinking about it, right? Like I have this mental obsession to where like all I can think about is like when am I getting the next drink? What do I gotta do? Who do I gotta steal from? Who do I gotta like manipulate in order to get the drink? And like and like spiritually, like the loss of values of life, like just like were evident all around me, making poor decisions in every situation. And I got two DUIs in the state of North Carolina. I went to go live down in North Carolina. I thought it was like a geographical thing that I needed to change where I lived. And I went down to North Carolina. I went to go live with some buddies. And I was drinking and like blacked out like the first night I got there. And then like we started adding other substances into the picture. And like I stick to alcohol out of the traditions. And if you don't know what that means, it just means that like maybe you should talk to some people after the meeting and get some phone numbers and find out how this thing works. So like for me, blacking out and OUIs and jumping into a bunch of different treatment centers and psych wards and like not knowing what the hell was going on with me. And eventually like I got into enough pain, and and I got help, right? Like I remember one of the last detoxes I went to, there was a uh, it was like one of the best detoxes for me, right? Because like they would come pick me up and they would drop me off. And they had really good cereal at this detox. And I just remember that the cereal was like fucking bomb. And like you can like eat whenever the hell you wanted to, and like you didn't need like special permissions. And I remember like a commitment came in, which is like a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. They came into the cafeteria, and a bunch of guys who like looked nothing like me, who were like older, different nationality, whatever the case may be. But like they talked about like this thing, alcoholism, and like the physical craving that like once I put one, I can't stop, and like the allergy we call it. And like I started believing that like maybe I had this thing, maybe there was something about my relationships to substances and alcohol, and and like I just wanted to like if these people drank and like thought the same way that my thinking was going on, that like maybe they might have a solution. So I remember leaving that detox, and I left the detox as soon as the guy pulled like over to where I lived, and like he turned around. I went straight to the liquor store. I got good and drunk, and like I was like, I'm gonna go to AA because they said to go to AA. But like I didn't like not drink. I just got drunk first, and then I was like, I'm gonna go to AA. And that's this works better. Alcoholics Anonymous works better without substances in your system. But like if you do, like, welcome, because my experience is that like I came in drunk and high many times to AA. Uh, yeah, so like I went to like a meeting in Boston, and a bunch of like people who like I didn't really look up to or like want anything that they had, but like they were just telling these stories, and like they were like super welcoming, and like I was just like curious, right? And
Hey, Eldin, you're muted. Eldin. Eldin.
You're muted, Eldin.
You're muted. Okay.
how about that? Can we hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I will take off this funky headset. Okay, cool. So my headset died. Sorry, I don't know where I left off, but when I saw people waving, I knew that there was a problem. Yeah, so a bunch of people came up to me after the meeting. They invited me out to eat. They were like, "We go out to a meeting tomorrow night. Why don't you come with us?" And I went to a meeting with them that night, the next day. And like, but before that, like, we went out to eat. Like, I had no money, I had no job, I had no place to live, and like, they like offered me like this fellowship. We talk about like, we do this after this meeting, and like a in you know, a miracle happened that night. I didn't drink, and I didn't do any other substances, and that was my sobriety date. That I followed it up by a meeting the next day, and then the next day, you know, they gave me suggestions in Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, 90 meetings in 90 days, and I must have went to like 250 something meetings in 90 days, because I can tell you in Boston, a 7:30 meeting. I could tell you the nooner. I can tell you a 2 o'clock meeting that I would hit. I can tell you the 6 o'clock meeting that I would hit. And then I'd do like an 8 o'clock meeting, and then I'd come on like 5D, and like, or like anyone, anywhere, another online meeting that I would attend. And and just like be fired up. And what started happening is like people were like, "Man, why don't you do service at this meeting?" And like, I like, you know, the triangle. If you ever get like a coin in AA, there's a triangle, and they have three sides to the triangle: the unity, service, and recovery. And they were like, if you do all three of these things in the triangle, like you have a shot at staying sober a day at a time. We make no promises, except for like, you know, some other stuff that's in the book. But like, if you do the three sides of this triangle, uh, you know, you stay in the middle of Alcoholics Anonymous, like you have less of a shot of a chance to like to relapse. And I started getting involved with meetings. I started doing service work at like pretty much every meeting that I would go to. I was doing like this type of meeting before we had Zoom. We used to use Skype. I've been on this meeting since 2014. Like, for some of you, it may be like, "Oh wow, like I thought this was just a pandemic." Like, no, online meetings have been around for a long time. And yeah, man, like I got involved. I started to identify with young people and alcoholics. I got a sponsor. We read this big book with my sponsor. I'd meet with him every Friday at the Student Campus Center at Northeastern University, and we would read you know, a chapter out of this book. And like, in the book where it tells me the directions of like how we recover, like I did the things that it said to do with the, you know, advisement of my sponsor. And you know, my life has transformed since then, man. Like we were talking earlier about ICIPOB, which is like this international conference of young people in Alcoholics Anonymous. It happens every year at a different city, and like what happens is a bunch of alcoholics go to this hotel, and like they take over the hotel for the whole weekend, and like they run around. There's meetings like every hour on the hour. There's dances at night. There's like this, that, and the other thing, and like whatever you want to do, like it's there. Like it's an amazing experience, right? And so now that like we can finally, because maybe, you know, the world is like changing in terms of like what's been going on, we might be able to like meet in person at this conference. It's going to happen in New Orleans, August 26th through something, like it's the weekend. I booked my hotel room today. Like I booked my plane ticket today. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going, because like I know that like this is the best experience that I've had sober, like fun, like, you know, like dancing, like doing all kinds of crazy shit sober. And like, you know, I don't know, like this program has really worked, and it continues to work in my life. And during this whole pandemic, like I've not had the opportunity to go to like in-person meetings just like the rest of you, but like you know, I resorted to like coming here, being of service at this meeting and trying to like help out the newcomer and like show people the way out, right? And what amazing gift, sponsorship, right? Being able to help another person get through this, you know, go through this book and have an experience and have a relationship with a higher power. The higher power I choose to call God, right? It's a spiritual program. We're not a religious organization. We're spiritual, and like the book promises me, like we read it tonight, step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, right? If I take these steps, that's a promise that like I will have a spiritual awakening. And what does that really mean? Well, you can talk to a sponsor about it. For me, yep, I'm wrapping up. For me, like a spiritual experience is a change in perspective, a mindset that's not the same as it once was, where it's like not guided by like self-will and like and jealousy and dishonesty. It's like practicing the opposites of those kinds of things, right? So if you know, if you're new, if you're struggling, if you're not new, whatever the case may be, like you know, when sharing, like and let us know where you're at, because like they say like a I don't even know what the expression goes, but like I don't know where you're at in your recovery unless like you tell me they're like, hey, this is going on and like I need help. So I'm looking to stick around after this meeting, talk to some of you. I'll put my phone number in the chat later on. And if you want to get a home group, we have our business meeting on the last Wednesday of the month, and stick around and find out what that all means. So thank you for letting me share, Sam.